Hey everybody, I'm working on a water change here on my Waterfall tank. I just changed the filter out. I really drained the water way down. I actually got to feeding all my other tanks while this one was draining, and by the time I got done, I only had about 3 or 4 inches of water in the bottom, which is fine. I normally drain this tank about halfway, fill it back up, drain it about halfway again, and do that at least, a couple of times, and really get the tannins cleared out of this water. There's a lot of woodwork in here, and then of course there is a lot of woodwork and soil and roots and all sorts of stuff going on up here. I've got all kind of semi-rotting wood and moss and all sorts of stuff that really load this tank up with tannins. Within just a few days it looks like tea-stained water. Now, I never quite let it get to the degree of being like a black water tank. I do appreciate black water, but it's not something I want for one of my own tanks. But this one's probably about as close as I'll ever get, or at least I can, in the foreseeable future. And so while I'm in here tinkering around just on a water change, I figured I would catch everybody up on a few little odds and ends. For those of you who follow along with all my videos, you'll know that I recently started putting a screen over the end of my siphon, because I actually siphoned some frogs out of this tank once. And so what I tried tonight seemed to be a pretty effective method. Instead of putting a rubber band and a hose and all that kind of stuff, I actually just wadded up a little bit of the batting and dropped it down inside the siphon as I was beginning to drain, and it just went down to the bottom and stopped, and it just created a sort of filter plug that prevented anything from getting down in there. And then when I started filling the tank back up, it just pushed it out the other direction, and now the tank, the water can flow freely. So that worked out pretty well. I'll just have to remember to get in there and pull the thing out, the little plug that I put in there. So I'm also getting a lot of this really nasty green, dark green, slimy growth that I'm assuming is the cyanobacteria. I'm starting to get a little bit of it growing on the rocks right here. I've got lots of it. I mean, you can just see how nasty and slimy that looks. I mean, you can just pull the slime off in a lot of cases. Now, unfortunately, it just falls down here, and I get all that stuff going on down in there. But, whatever. That's all just growth, and it's all just stuff that's going to be happening in there. There's not a lot I can do about that. It will probably get broken down at some point, as I've been saying all along. I don't know. Summertime's coming up. The plants I planted in the other room as seeds have gotten started, so we've got some purple salvia that I will hopefully be able to incorporate in here. I would really like to get some flowering plants in here and really add some color and some vibrancy to it now that it's, officially sort of starting to become like springtime outside. I'd really like to see some of that translate into here. I was hoping to have flowers in here over the winter so that I could, basically have an early spring, but it never really transpired. So not much I can do about that at this point. The only real change I'm going to make tonight is with this piece of wood here. I do like it visually. It really does sort of take the hard edge off of that big foam rubber, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. In fact, you can see it on this side very clearly. It's not awful looking, but it's not very good looking either. I've got this piece of wood right there, so when I stand in front of the tank about here, it sort of visually breaks that line up, and you don't quite see the edge of that rubber. And I've never really done anything satisfactory up in that corner yet. Hopefully that dead nettle will be enough that I can sort of fill this all in, and you won't see that much anymore. But the thing I want to do tonight is I want to remove this piece of wood, and that is because the way I've got it sitting, it's propped up on the edge of the tank, and you can see this crack runs way up into it. I mean, way up into it. And I did find a little piece of wood on the floor the other day, and I don't know if it came off of this or not, but in my mind, I just have a vision of that breaking, and this whole thing coming down, and I really don't want that thing just falling sideways right into the face of this tank. I'm sure it wouldn't break the glass, but I just don't need that happening. And of course, it would take out my plant and everything with it. So before the tank gets fully topped off, which it's going to be very shortly here, we're going to go ahead and pull this down. Hopefully we're not going to be too rooted in with any of these plants, and it should just come right out. Yeah, I don't think anything is growing in there. Oh yeah. Boy, that has really dried out since I put it up there. In fact, I'm almost not worried about it now that I'm feeling how lightweight that is. The whole thing only weighs a few ounces. That is bone dry. And so that's what it looks like without that there. That's not too bad. I'm not going to worry about putting that back. I actually kind of think it opens it up a little more and makes it look a little more spacious. Definitely going to be getting rid of this dead moss, but it is kind of, well, let's see if we can just pull it out a little bit right now. So we'll get rid of that. Put that down here too for now. And we will definitely start thinking about what we're going to do with this corner here. I got to be careful because I don't, you know, water goes over and it goes outside the tank at this point. So everything's got to flow this way to go into the tank. So we'll see how that plays out. So there you go. That was my big change for the waterfall tank. I just wanted to make sure everybody saw that in real time as it happened. So you got the before and after basically in real time, like I said. So hopefully this is now going to cascade down and we will get a lot more, you know, covering up with that. So, all right, everybody, I got to go because the tank's almost full and I don't want to stand here and have it overflowing while I'm on video. That would be probably my biggest bonehead move yet on video. So make sure you're subscribed. You never know what you're going to get with me. I'm always shooting some kind of video about something going on down here in the fish room. And if you're subscribed, you won't miss any of it. Yay, flowers. I just noticed them. All this time I've been standing here talking, I did not even notice that we actually do already have flowers. So there you go, everybody. Again, make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget, this one here is my waterfall tank. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you real soon in the next one.